Peace, what's good? How y'all doing? Let me get my screen set up here. Give me just a second. Make sure I got my stuff where it needs to be. Okay, can I move this screen over here? Nope, can't do that. All right. Share my screen real quick. Let's do here. Share. All right, cool. Peace, what's good? How y'all doing? Today is Sunday, December 29th. I pray that this message reaches you in the best of health, spirit, and mind. I am doing well. I wanted to do this short video for you guys. Number one, to promote my new workbook, Change Your Mind from Lack to Abundance. 134 pages, full color, just an amazing love offering and reflection of my mind, heart, and spirit, where I'm at right now. And so I'm going to preview a page from each section. Well, not each section. I left off 2 sections, but a page from most of the sections, and use those pages of the workbooks and whatever the subject matter is of that particular page to give you a blessing, or not a blessing, to relay a message, hopefully that will help to clear up some unresolved energy that you may be dealing with, to help you to get to the next level of your consciousness and to grow and elevate wherever you are, wherever this message finds you, whether you are down and depressed and feeling anxiety, or in a really good place and just ready to go to the next level of your life. From lack to abundance, right? Going from a position of lack, meaning low expectations, expecting people to do you wrong, focus on the fact that there are not a lot of, harmonious relationships in your environment, focusing on, coming out of religious perspective and feeling lost and being mad because you were lied to. We're coming off the tail ends of this holiday season. So there's a lot of energy that's circulating that's not always positive, and it's not always good. So from lack to abundance, moving out of the mindset of lack, out of limitation, and into the mindset of abundance, of limitlessness, of I can do anything, of yes, I am woman, hear me roar, or I am a king, or however you want to size it up for yourself, right? That's what this workbook is about. On the opening page, I have a quote that says, "The alchemist is one who transforms all energies into higher frequencies of light and love. They are bringers of a new dawn, transmuting the old paradigms into a higher intelligence and order. They act solely for the highest good of all. Love is the only master that they answer to. Please accept this workbook as my contribution to the study of self-love, mental power, and consciously creating reality." And you guys have heard me talk about spiritual alchemy before. So the concept of going from lack to abundance is alchemy. It's alchemy of the mind, it's alchemy of the emotions, and it's alchemy of the spiritual self. All right. So, excuse me. Let me drink some water. We start the workbook out with a self-rating chart. That is an appraisal of where you are in 10 different areas of your life. I didn't put that in here, but that's how the workbook starts off, along with a a commitment letter that you write to yourself about, really taking advantage of the time and space that we are in right now, and making it a focus to change your mindset from lack to abundance. So after those 2 things, the first section is understanding emotion and the magnetic factor. There is a quote that I have on this page from Don Miguel Ruiz from the 4 Agreements. And he's basically talking about all of the conversations that we have within our mind and how they are all competing. And let me see, I will read a little piece of this. There are conflicting agreements. These are conflicting agreements that go against other agreements, and on until it becomes a big war in the mind. The mitote, which is he's giving a reference to this mitote, which is like a marketplace where there are all these people talking in this environment, and there's really no harmony when that's happening in the mind, where you have all of these conflicting conversations within yourself that are self-defeating. The mitate is the reason humans hardly know what they want, how they want it, or when they want it. They don't agree with themselves because there are parts of the mind that want one thing and other parts that want exactly the opposite. This is very important for us to really be conscious, start monitoring your thought process. And I even sometimes hear myself talking and I'm like, where in the hell did that thought come from? You know, where it'll be something of self-ridicule or self-doubt, or just something that I know is absolutely not true or is absolutely not going to manifest. But we have this thing where we, always, be prepared for the worst case scenario. That's a real mind state and a state of consciousness that has been embedded in us culturally, in the bigger scope of the reality that we live in. And then also like just on a day-to-day basis between the media, between social media, between the news, all of these different aspects are kind of subtly and inadvertently preparing us for the worst. Well, when do we prepare for the best case scenario? And why don't we think like that? And so 2 of the questions on this page is identify at least 2 conflicting statements or beliefs that you think and feel often. And then mitate, which is another word for being all over the place, and give a summary of the conflicting, negative, harmful conversations that are taking place in your mind on a daily basis. And I put up a post on social media today that basically said you can predict what's going to happen into your life and what's coming into your life based on the inner conversation that you have on a day-to-day basis, right? So when we talk about the magnetic factor, your magnetic factor is highly dependent on and relative to the conversations that you are having in your mind. If you have low expectations for the people in your life, for your job and work experience, for your experience within the world, then that is exactly what you are going to attract. Section 2 is water starts to mold when it stands still. This is important because we have to understand that as human beings, we are wired for progress, we are wired for change, we are wired to evolve. If you find yourself on December 29th, of 2019 in the exact same space that you were in on December 29th, 2018. And I don't mean just the house that you live in or driving the same car or working the same job. I'm talking about mentally, your state of consciousness, your state of awareness in the world. Have you grown? Do you see things a little bit differently? Are you a little less judgmental? Are you a little more prone to study? Are you more prone to thinking outside of the box? Are you more prone to listening instead of always being the one who's talking? Listening is a very important art form and skill set that very few people really truly know how to do, especially in this day and time. People are literally waiting to hear what you have to say, won't even let you finish before they're already concocting a response. And it's funny because sometimes people will comment on my videos on social media. I put the video up, it's a 20-minute video, and 2 minutes in, you're already giving your perspective based on the subject. You don't even know what I said yet, right? So just being able to listen, and that doesn't just apply to people who watch my videos, that applies to me as well. I pride myself on being able to listen. That's why I'm so good with my clients, because I know how to just be quiet and let them express themselves. And not just with clients, but like I'm listening to one of Neville Goddard's books right now. And I'm so immersed in it that I'm listening to it frequently and consistently because I respect his mind. I respect his, mastery of his particular lane, and his ability to talk about consciously creating reality and the power of the imagination. So every aspect of the human being, mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical self, requires change, growth, and challenge to keep from being stuck, therefore stagnated, therefore limited, therefore out of alignment with the Creator and our divine purpose. If water sits in one place for too long, it starts to mold. Everything moves, everything vibrates, everything in the universe is constantly experiencing ebbs and flows. That is especially true for human beings, which are the highest on the pyramid of life, so to speak, in the ecosystem of our reality. We are at the top of the pyramid, not because we are greater than animals, not because we are more important than trees or than grass, but because we are the only physical beings that are able to, that have free will. and that are actually able to consciously create our reality. All of us are creating reality. It's either by default or it's consciously and deliberately, right? So on this same worksheet, I have rate yourself mentally, rate yourself spiritually, your well-being, rate yourself physically, and then rate yourself mentally. And those things are important because, again, doing an appraisal of where you are in your mind, and in your heart and in the state of your consciousness right now is the first step to saying, okay, I'm not really where I want to be mentally. I'm not reading enough. I'm not where I want to be emotionally. I wake up in the morning with anxiety, or I'm really afraid of losing my job, or I'm really afraid of, I'm not going to attract the perfect partner for me. That's the first step to being able to focus on and fine tune the things that you need to focus on in order to get to the next stage of your evolution. The next section is called Make Peace with Yourself. The key to abundance is by learning how to surrender and or let it go. I talk about energetic leaks, and that's one thing that I talk about in this particular section. And being able to assess and analyze, and there's a couple of sections in the book that really help you to fine tune those energetic leaks, meaning things that are kind of pulling at you that may not be sitting right in front of you, right? When you're at a job and you have a boss that you can't stand, that's an obvious situation that's frustrating you. But a lot of times we have things that are kind of playing in the background of our lives that we're not really conscious of, that are seeping out. And because we don't acknowledge them, sometimes we don't even know they're there. And sometimes we don't even know how much they're impacting us. They kind of come to a head at the wrong time, at the wrong place, or with regards to the wrong people. So some of the energetic leaks that I talk about, excuse me, living with grief from past mistakes, the need for approval from other people, overthinking petty events and turning them into personal attacks, envy and jealousy of successful people, worry and fear about the future, the inability to control negative emotions, the emotional eating, reliving and living in pain from childhood experiences without seeking help, resentment of past relationships and life circumstances. That is critical, because if you have a past relationship that's still haunting you, that means that you are not in a space of gratitude where you can look back at that relationship and see why this person was attracted on your path, why you attracted this person, and what lessons you were meant to learn and experiences that you were meant to expand using this person, this mirror, so to speak, in order to get to the next level of your consciousness. Make Peace with Yourself is a really, really deep section of the workbook. I want to say it is 11 pages. Make Peace with Yourself and learning how to surrender and let go. Forgiveness, a superpower. You guys have to forgive me. I'm talking fast because I have an interview tonight. So I want to get this up, and I really just want to kind of get this off my chest, because I really just want you guys to know I'm so proud of this workbook. Like, I really am. It's really important to me that, it's able to help people. So forgiveness, the superpower. This was important for me because I have had a situation, I've had a couple of situations actually, personal in my life, with people that for whatever reason, good, bad, or ugly, that it didn't end well. Maybe this person was trying to harm me. Maybe this person has been trying to sabotage me, that frustration and that energy from people that have done us wrong, or even people that we've done wrong. And most of the time, and a lot of times, that person is ourself, meaning we need to forgive ourselves, meaning we didn't do right by ourselves, meaning we're still harboring negative energy because we had a child by somebody that we knew wasn't worthy, or we, gave so much of ourselves to a friend or to a family member that ended up doing us wrong, or we, whatever, all of our complexities of our lives. So again, this is another energetic leak where we are harboring negative energy and intense frustration for people that is getting in the way of our internal growth and our internal progress. So forgiveness is less about the other person and more so about you. It's not recusing them of what they did to you or how they wronged you, but it is you allowing yourself to recognize whatever the situation was, whatever the lesson was, and then to let it go. And this is big because if everything that we are trying to accomplish in our lives is filtered through our consciousness, meaning it all has to pass through whatever the fullness of your consciousness is. So if you want to buy your dream house 2 years from now, right? And you're working on your credit and you're saving your money, but you still have this unresolved energy and frustration from this person or this experience, that is causing an energetic leak and energy to be misplaced that's going towards something that is not even really still a part of your life or your reality. But it's still affecting you and bothering you to the point where you can't attract and manifest the right person to come and get your credit done, in 6 months opposed to a year and a half, or, that inheritance that's somewhere sitting waiting for you to be in alignment with it, for it to come into fruition, or that person that lives a couple of blocks away from you that needs to hire somebody to help them cut the grass or do administrative paperwork, or do some work in their office building, or or somebody looking for a partnership. All these little innuendos that could be potential opportunities for us, but because we're not in alignment, because there's these energetic leaks that are kind of getting in the way, we're not able to attract the fullness of the abundance of what it is that we want to attract. So this forgiveness is 9 pages, and there are several affirmations. At the end of the book, I give a meditation recipe, so to speak. And within the forgiveness section, there are several affirmations that you can create a meditation out of, so that if there is a situation of frustration with pain that you're harboring from family members, etc., then you can start to release that energy so that you can move that energy into a more productive space. Unfinished business. There's 2 sections to this. One of them is things that are, physically tangible, unresolved child support, tax returns, driver's licenses, bank liens, contractual agreements that we weren't able to uphold or that somebody else wasn't able to uphold, things that are kind of frustrating us that we haven't gotten a chance, that are probably not that big, that we let get big because a month passes and then a year passes and then 5 years pass and then 10 years pass, right? The other section of this is the unresolved business, identifying energy leaks, is problems with family members, narcissist mother, father who walked out on me, issues with children, all of these different things that are energy leaks that we really have not concentrated on. And this section is not like going and drudging up all of the dirt in order to wipe it clean. No, this is about acknowledging that this is what it is. And then, okay, I may not be in the best mental space right now in order to make this situation right. So I'm going to bless it. I'm going to resolve myself peacefully with it. And then when I am in the right heart space, in the mind space, I can come back and pay attention to this. And then just as far as these particular things, and there are others that we list in the book as well, really acknowledging these things in order to say, okay, I didn't really realize that this is bothering me like this. I have unresolved child support, $10,000, $100,000, and it really just irritates me every time somebody says something about a passport, or every time somebody says something, I don't have my driver's license, like all those little things, and we become slaves to these things because we don't think we can clear it up, because we're not really, focused on clearing it up, because it's just kind of like, well, it is what it is. Well, when we get into a mindset of understanding that we live in a spiritual world, we are spiritual beings, you can resolve these things by taking it to an energetic and spiritual space. Meaning it's not just about calling the lawyer or, going down to the courthouse. That's a part of it. But there's a space and a methodology that you can use to start through your imagination, through your visualization, through your intentional focus, where you can start moving things around without it necessarily being so hard. And we talk about that throughout the workbook. Dominant vibration in matters of the heart. This is 8 pages, this particular worksheet. And we're just basically talking about being able to see ourselves through the type of relationships that we've attracted. When you have those relationships that you're still bitter about, or a current relationship that may be healthy or that may not be healthy, really starting to look at yourself and these patterns through the eyes of your higher self, and then also through the eyes of the person that you were in a relationship. Like, what good did you bring to your current, or did you bring to your previous relationship and your current relationship? Like, what's the list of things, the value that you brought for this person, no matter how horrible they were to you, no matter how damaging the relationship was, or, that's part of it. But again, we're in the mindset of consciously creating reality. So what value did you bring? How did you help him or her grow? What good did you bring to the table? When you left this man or this woman, how can you pride yourself with knowing that I, helped to elevate him or her in this certain space? So that's what dominant vibration in matters of the heart is. Are you trustworthy? Do you trust men or women? Do you lack trust? Do you feel like you can attract a mate with similar goals and aspirations, or do you feel like it's just a lost cause, right? And then what type of people have you had in your life, whether it was aunties and uncles, your parents, your grandparents, somebody in the community that represented a healthy relationship that make you feel like, yeah, I can attract somebody that will be healthy and well-meaning for me, and that I should expect that this will come into my life at the right time. 4 rooms, honoring all of you. You guys have heard me talk about, it's my second video, y'all, and I got an interview tonight. The Native American proverb, everyone is a house with 4 rooms, a physical, mental, and emotional, and a spiritual being. Most of us tend to live in one room most of the time, unless we go into every room every day, even if only to keep it aired. We are not a complete person. So that's what this entire section is about. It's 4 pages, and it's just really about you being able to observe and give yourself more credit for the fullness that you are as a human being. There's so much depth and so many complexities to us. And I don't care if you are an avid book reader or you don't read at all. I don't care if you are a staunch scholar or you don't really care about, knowledge, so to speak. If you are a successful businessman and businesswoman, or if you are a bum sitting on the couch, bum is the wrong word, but you sit on your couch and play video games all day, right? No matter what end of the spectrum you're on, you are still a deep and complex and versatile human being. So I'll just read, let's see. I will read the mental self. Education, seeking knowledge and intelligence, communication, a master or servant of language, willpower, discipline and focus, harnessing the power of thought and intuition. Everybody on the different ends of the spectrum have those different aspects and elements to themselves. Some people are more prone to those particular things. Some people deny those things their whole lives, but it's still a part of you. The act of denying it makes it a part of you, right? Your emotional self, intimate relations, reflections, relationships, which are mirrors, self-love and self-worth, heart and mind cohesion, meaning that your thought process is in alignment with your feelings, compassion and the heart chakra, and then prioritizing how you feel. That applies to everybody. I don't care what race, I don't care where you grew up, I don't care where you live, I don't care how poor you are, I don't care if you live in the hood, I don't care if you live in the suburbs, right? So these are just the depths and the complexities of human beings. And we're on page 52. This is page 52 of the workbook. And then the question is asked, which room do you spend your time in? And then we kind of go into unpacking that so that you can really kind of take a look at how you spend your time and what your focus is most of the time, maybe without even realizing it. What is your master teacher? Let's see. Hang on. What is your master teacher? So this is a section, and this is a pretty long worksheet because this is important. This one is 12 pages long. And this is the first page where I talk about adverse childhood experiences. There were some psychiatrist who did this extensive study. And Dr. Nadine Burke talked about this, and she is a sister from San Francisco. She's got a book. She's a very powerful and intelligent sister, but she talks about adverse childhood experiences. And this is where I got this from. So I started researching it, and we kind of go into depth about this in this particular section. There's more to it, but let's just pinpoint these particular things. Adverse childhood experiences are traumatic childhood events where we experience violence, abuse, or neglect, where we witness violence in the home, or having a family member attempt or die by suicide, right? So in the workbook, there's this page, and then there's another page at this. You rate yourself, you give yourself a point for each of these sections, and then there's another one. The second page to this has like racism and being bullied and poverty and all these different things that you continue to score yourself. But on this page, physical, verbal, sexual abuse, you give yourself a point for each one of these that you've experienced. Physical neglect, emotional neglect, a parent having alcoholic or drug abuse, mental illness, mother, a victim of domestic violence, a family member being incarcerated or having mental illness, parental separation due to divorce, death, and abandonment. And this is extremely important because we are not compassionate enough with ourselves. And a lot of us come from very traumatic and dysfunctional upbringings, and we beat ourselves up every day because we're suffering from anxiety, or because we don't have it together, or because we haven't figured it out, or because we keep making the same mistakes. Well, once you really start to look at your upbringing from a compassionate state of mind, and one of the things that we do in this section is like talk to yourself and start to think from the vantage point of being a 3-year-old. How would you treat your 3-year-old self, right? So once you really score yourself and really realize what you've been through, it's like, oh, okay, wait a minute. Like, not that you need to go back and psychologically reanalyze and reassess yourself, but the same kindness and compassion that we give to our children and that we give to strangers sometimes really, really, really needs to be focused and internalized towards ourselves. I can't tell you how many consultations I've done and clients that I've worked with. One of the first things they say is, I want to do more in my community. I want to be of service. I want to help more. And I feel like I'm not doing enough. Well, the first way to be of service and to help other people is to help yourself, because we are trying to build, and when I say we, I'm talking about like our society, our culture in general, trying to build organizations and institutions based on the back of broken people. And that's why we are not sustaining our agendas, because we are not focusing on our individual selves enough in order to be strong branches of the tree, so to speak, to have the biggest impact. The Mirrors of the Soul. Let's see, this one is 8 pages, and excuse me, I start out quoting Greg Brayton from the Divine Matrix, and quoting a story that he tells in the book, where he talks about his mother and how her dog ended up going to the vet and finding out that he had spots on his liver, her dog. So the dog has surgery, and then he kind of told his mother, like, hey, I think you should go to the doctor. I understand how energy resonance works. She ends up going to the doctor and had the same exact issue on her lungs, and ended up having to have immediate surgery in order to correct this. They caught it quick enough, and she was able to rectify it. But this whole section is about energetic resonance and recognizing things that have happened on your path and that have happened in your life that are actually attracting certain situations and certain experiences to you, be it mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. The jobs that we attract, the cars that we buy, the interactions we have at the bank, at the grocery store, at the liquor store. Hopefully y'all not at the liquor store. I know you're at the liquor store, but I'm kidding. Grocery store, just regular everyday encounters, situations that we are having that we think are random situations and occurrences. No, we are resonating in energy based on what's happening in our minds and our hearts, and attracting certain circumstances and situations to us. And a lot of things that we experience as far as health is concerned, cancer, different ailments and experiences are relative to that as well. Where is your center? The law of causation in the Kabbalion talks about the closer you are to your center, the more free you are. The further you are away from your center, the more bound you are. So that's what this whole section is about. Does your life represent freedom or bondage? And do you actually know what your center is? My center, and I've, it has been solidified for me, particularly over this past year, because I've been trying to do everything but focus on my centers to put me in a position to focus on my center. My center is knowledge. My center is research. My center is writing, right? My center is absorbing information and wisdom from the world through scholars, through history, through whatever medium it is. That's where I feel alive. That's where I feel vibrant. That's where I feel most useful to myself and to the world, right? So as I am in alignment with that and recognize the value and the power of that, that's when I really start to come into the fullness of who I am. When I talk to a lot of people, they don't even know what they want to do with their lives. I don't know what my passion is. I don't know what my goals are. I don't know what my aspirations are. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my life. So that's what this section is about. Where is your center? And really walking through the thing, finding out and cultivating what it is that makes you feel alive, that makes you thrive, and that makes you feel like, I can do anything. This is my purpose. This is, what I am meant to do with my life. And that section is 7 pages. Prosperity consciousness. So you see how we're going from lack to abundance, right? That's how the book, it goes in a chronological order. So one of the sections is I created this wheel of intangible goals: success, love, abundance, wisdom, peace of mind, freedom, quality relationships, ease, clarity, prosperity, etc. And then you have 4 options to choose the top 4 of those things. The second wheel is tangible goals, physical things that you want to, manifest in your life. A glass of bottled water, or a phone, a pen, right? A notebook, I'm being facetious, but tangible physical things. And then you write out a list of those things. And then from there, we start to fine tune, okay, well, how would you, write that out on a statement? What is that supposed to look like? How does it feel when you think about it? So walking through that process of the tangible and intangible things that you really want to manifest in your life. And then we have a process, through the workbook that will help you to create create processes in order to manifest those things in your life. Imagination and abundance. This is an exercise that is 4 pages long that focuses on using your imagination to consciously create your reality and thinking outside the box on the things that you actually want to attract in your life. The power of visualization. This is important, and this is also 8 pages long. It is a synopsis and an emphasis and a focus on creating a vision board based on the things that you chose from your prosperity consciousness section, right? And then we have, there's a color board chart included here. Also, understanding why to use certain colors, why certain colors are powerful, what to put on your vision board as far as like a spiritual aspect, the color scheme, certain words, so, walking you through the whole entire vision board process from beginning to end, and using language on your vision board that will help you to believe in what it is that you want to manifest and also to bring it into fruition. The law of attraction, I didn't put the cover page for this, but the law of attraction, obviously there's a whole section on this that talks about what the law of attraction actually means. Everything is moving, everything is vibrating, and you are resonating a frequency and an energy through how you feel and how you're thinking that is attracting things to you and repelling things away from you. And in this, I just wanted to show you guys this because we focus on the law of attraction, but there are many spiritual laws that govern universal consciousness, right? So if we go, dealing with the Kabbalion, mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, gender, mental gender as well. And then the 12 laws or subset of spiritual laws that talk about vibration, correspondence, cause and effect, law of attraction, relativity, right? And then there are subsets to all of these laws, right? So you get a chance to look those over while you are, working through your workbook, but also just going back to the depths of humanity. All of these laws apply to us. All of these laws are governing who we meet, the type of experiences we have, the most traumatic, the most loving and abundant and joyful. We are all being governed and within and without through this universal state of consciousness and through these spiritual laws. So we go more into that in the workbook. And then You Create Your Reality is a section where I give a daily focus, things that you want to do for that day, and then things you want the universe to do for you for that day. And then also how to create your own personal meditations. And I have several meditations throughout the book where they are, you know, written out affirmations in a cohesive and very high vibrational language that you can, you know, use the recipe that I give for the meditations and create your own meditations depending on what it is you want to focus on. If you want to focus on money, if you want to focus on forgiveness, if you want to focus on, you know, confidence and high self-esteem, if you want to focus on love, learning how to use the meditation process to reprogram your subconscious mind. All right. And there you have it. This is the last and final page, 134 pages. We went over about 10 pages, but I am so proud of this workbook. So you can get it in the ebook format. If you purchase the ebook format of the workbook, it is formatted so that you can type directly onto the pages. So as you're reading through and then certain, you know, when you have to do the Q&A or whatever, you can actually type directly onto the form. So you can do it on your computer or you can print it out and actually, you know, handwrite on it. And then we're taking pre-orders right now for the physical copy, which will be shipped out January 25th. I'm waiting for the first manuscript to be in my hands so that I can show it to you guys. It's going to be big. I know it is. It's 134 pages, but altogether it's 154 pages with the cover sheets. So I'm just really excited about it. ZaZaAli.com is my website. It's on sale right now for $28.88. If you want to get the discounted price, we're going to keep that up for a couple more days. Go to my website, ZaZaAli.com, and purchase your copy right now. Thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful New Year's Eve and a very prosperous and abundant and amazing and magnificent 2020 and beyond. It's going to be a really good year, and I am super excited. Much love, and let me stop my share. Okay, here I am. Much love, you guys. I appreciate your time and attention, like I said. And yeah, it's going to be a good year. So let's start consciously creating our reality right now. I said a lot in a very short amount of time. I know I did. Hopefully you guys followed it. If you didn't, go back, slow it down, slow me down so you can process all the information. All right. Peace and love.